It's Friday. Took me a second to think about that. The cheating, looking at my computer, the 29th of 2023. That part I know. Um, 2 days away from New Year's, right? 2 days away from New Year's Eve, I guess. And we've talked a little bit about making resolutions, setting intentions, working through um, towards working through and towards the things that we would like to see become a reality in 2024. And I hope everyone has something. This isn't really about self improvement. We talked about that quite a bit as well. When you see through the transitory nature of the self, it's hard to really think of self improvement any longer. Although there's an appearance of the self, and that appearance certainly can be improved in some ways. It reminds me of uh, Suzuki Roshi talking to the group of uh, students. I think it was they were becoming therapists, psychologists, and he looked around the room and said, "Each and every one of you are perfect exactly as you are." Which, of course, they sort of smiled and nudged themselves because that's what a Zen master was expected to say. And then he looked at him a little harder and he said, "And you each can use a little bit of work too, a little bit of improvement," which surprised them because they did not expect to hear a Zen master say that, which really goes to show that it doesn't matter if the self that we believe in is an illusion or not, because as it appears within our lives, it is a workable vehicle. It's what and who we identify with, most often at least. Even those more enlightened, even those greatly awakened beings, they still have the appearance of the self. And with that appearance comes a little bit of responsibility of helping make the world a better place. So if you set a resolution, don't set it so much for yourself alone, but how can you serve? Because that changes everything. When you think in terms of how may I serve, there's a greater energy to it because now you got the entire universe working alongside of you. Our friend Destiny Forever Walks, PhD, is here. Happy Friday, Eric. I'm here listening. Thanks for being here, Destiny. I always appreciate it. Um, After my burpee session today, I talked a little bit about resiliency and the importance of resiliency. And my problem with my back has got me thinking of resiliency, but not in that traditional sense of bouncing back so quickly to what I was doing, but more thinking in terms of settling into the reality of what I can do now. What brings me joy in this moment? Not what used to bring me joy, not what might bring me joy in the future, but dealing with the reality of now. And that's resiliency. Not just getting by, not just thinking, I'll do this until I'm able to do something, but what can I do right now that brings me joy, that brings me the resiliency of not just dealing with the moment, but deeply enjoying the moment that I have, no matter what it brings me, which is the key to dealing with grief, the key to dealing with sorrow, the key to dealing with any kind of suffering, isn't to escape it, but just to acknowledge it. Awareness changes everything. Once we're aware, we can start dealing with things. We can start working with what we have. And anytime we're working, anytime we're engaging in action, we're going to be a little bit happier than if we're just sitting waiting for something to happen. That's the whole nature of, in the Bhagavad Gita, surrender everything to God, surrender everything to Krishna. And you just do the work for the sake of the work. As it says in the Bhagavad Gita, You are entitled to your actions, but not the fruit of the actions. The fruit of the actions belong to God. The action itself, that's what you do. That's your part. Destiny says, how may I serve? That's what we should be asking. Yes. How may I serve? Perfect mantra. Perfect mantra going into 2024. Because here's the thing, how do I line that with my own specific desire, intention of growing my channel? Is I want my channel to serve. I want it, and by that I don't mean, you're going to watch it and have answers to any problems. You probably won't. Although you might learn some breath work. You might learn a little bit about meditation, maybe a little bit about yoga. But if you watch a short or anything, or even these live talks, all I want anyone to ever take away from it is a smile, is feeling a little bit better. I've had people listen to my stuff or read something that I wrote. Once I was doing a book signing, and somebody picked up a copy of my book and very breezily leafed through it and then tossed it on the table and said, I could have done that. And the person I was with at the time, she got very upset. And my reply was simply, yes, you could have done that, but you didn't. And that's the difference. It's not that I am more capable. It's not that I'm more inspired. It's not that I work harder. It's simply, for whatever reason, I sat down and wrote and then put it together in a book. For whatever reason, you didn't. Now, if you want to, I'm always willing to help anyone. But never diminish what someone else does. That's, and we all deal with that here on YouTube, and I deal with that on my blog sometimes. I deal with that on Facebook. And those people are, some I've known forever. Just makes you think a little bit. You know what? I'm going to bring something up. I don't know. This was attributed to, I'm always thankful to have Google at hand. This was attributed to Mother Teresa. She didn't write it, however. It was written on the wall of her hospital where she was working. And again, it had her name underneath, attributed to her. But it was actually written by, I believe, Kent. I don't remember his last name, Kent something. I don't think it's much different. But this is Mother Teresa's version. Both are beautiful. Destiny, I think you will appreciate this as well, and we'll read it out loud. For her, it was called Do It Anyway. For the original author, he wrote it as in the final analysis. You may have already heard this. People are often unreasonable, irrational, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win some unfaithful friends and some genuine enemies. Succeed anyway. If you are honest and sincere, people may deceive you. Be honest and sincere anyway. What you spend years creating, others could destroy overnight. Create anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, some may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today will often be forgotten. Do good anyway. Give the best you have, and it will never be enough. Give your best anyway. In the final analysis, it is between you and God. It was never between you and them anyway. Powerful words. Again, attributed to Mother Teresa, but not originally written by her. See if I can find the original author, because as much as I love and appreciate Mother Teresa, I always think it's important to cite the actual author, if it's at all possible to find. Our friend, it is what it is, Lewis is here. Lewis, how are you? How are you feeling? So the original author, Kent Keith. Beautiful words, and that closing statement. The closing statement. Sorry, I'm going to see if I can find it again. You see, in the final analysis, it is between you and God. It was never between you and them anyway. Lewis says, doing a lot better. Hi, 6%. Good. Real good. Most importantly, hopefully, less pain involved. You are weeks away from the big comeback, from the comeback story of 2024. You, Richard Runs Trails, someone else. Brad, powerlifting Brad. You three will be the big comeback to watch, which I'm looking forward to. Destiny says, wow, that was very, very same quote came across my face today and yesterday. That's a powerful message in there to be told. It is. And synchronicity, meaningful coincidences, Destiny. If it's coming across, it's a message for both of us to take heed. Very powerful, because we're both building something, and there will certainly be enough people who, for no reason that I can fathom, really, other than they think that they can, would like to maybe disrupt that a little bit. The thing is, it's not about you, it's not about me, and it's not about them. We do what we do for whatever the reason it is that we do it. For me, especially with the shorts, I like sharing what I wrote. I like sharing what I was thinking at the time when I wrote it. And hopefully somebody will read it and say, you know what, I could do that. I could write that. I could write something like that. And then they sit down and they actually do it. That's the message. So I am not trying to enlighten anyone. I'm not even trying to come across as any type of teacher or instructor, although, as I mentioned before, I am a meditation teacher and a breathwork coach. But really, hopefully, just to maybe inspire a little bit. Put something out there. I do the same thing, with my burpees. If someone likes to come along and critique my burpees, I'm happy to take whatever critique is put out there, if it means you're going to see if you can do better, and I hope that you can. Get down, hit some reps. Always happy to support. I don't need your support for me to be supportive. I don't need your friendliness for me to be friendly to you. I don't need, honestly, I don't need anything from anyone else for me to be loving, supportive, and forgiving. That all is mine. I have to own that. I have to put that out there. That's my mission. That's my dharma. My purpose is to be kind. Which reminds me of the Dalai Lama's statement when he was at the World's Religious Conference, and people from all different traditions um, stood up and would introduce themselves. I'm so and so, and I'm a evangelical preacher. Uh, I'm a Catholic priest. A rabbi, or whatever. And when it was the Dalai Lama's turn, he stood up and said that he was simply a monk, and his religion was kindness. He didn't say that he was the 14th Dalai Lama and that he is the reincarnated leader of Tibetan Buddhism. Just a simple monk, and his religion was to be kind. So I sort of feel that's my place as well. Not to be a simple monk, although I do live a very monkish life in many ways. And I do think my mission is to be kind, not for any other reason as that is my nature, my inherent nature. It's why I decided to be vegan. It's why I write what I write and do what I do and come here and talk about it. Hey, our friend Paradox is here. Yo people, hope everyone is well. Thanks, hope you're well too. I hope I didn't sound completely ridiculous when I said yo people. Some people can say that and it comes across as very cool. And some people like me say it and you think, man, you should never say that. You should never say that ever. That's probably the position that I am in. So, Paradox, you're another person to fit in great in the conversation that we're having about building things. Because I see you. I had your podcast up, but I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, your recent one, which I think was the day after Christmas. And I will hopefully watch it this weekend, so I have some time to sit. And I just love the fact that you're taking what you love and you're building something with it. It's the same reason why, I fall in love with Destiny's channel. Because she's doing what she loves and she's building something with it. And then, of course, there's always someone who is more than willing to tear that down for no other reason other than it's easier to tear something down than it is to build something up. Imagine if you took that same energy, that one person who just wanted to put a mean comment or a comment that detracts from what you're doing in some way, they took that same little bit of energy and used it as impetus to begin something positive or to lend that energy to you. Hey, I don't understand what you're doing. I might even be confused by what you're doing. However, I admire the fact that you want to succeed. You want to put some good out in the world. You want to give someone a smile. And that's enough for me. God bless. Go with it. Here's a little bit of energy, and I hope it helps. I hope it puts a smile on your face. I hope it stirs some creativity. I hope you keep building. Lewis says, yes, Eric, Richard is inspiring me for sure. You cannot keep Richard down. I think it was only days after that happened, he was on his ski erg. Paradox says that's why we make sure we build on solid foundation, bro. Yes, agree. And you know what? Solid foundation. That's people like you and Destiny and Lewis, the people that, again, appreciate the fact that you're just building something. I got a friend that I've probably run thousands of miles with him. We did our first couple 100-mile races together, um, countless 50Ks, countless 50 milers, 24-hour races together. Uh, and that's just races, not even talking about the training miles we put in. And we are as different as two people can be. One of us is extremely conservative. One of us is on the liberal side. I'll let you guys decide which one might be which one. Um, However, we've never had any disagreements about it. We're just two people who see things differently. He reads my writing every single day on my blog. And he said to me, one of my favorite compliments ever, I don't understand a single thing that you write about, but I appreciate the fact that you show up every day and write it. That was a great compliment. Great words. He didn't have to understand. He didn't even care to understand. And for him, I just write nonsense. But he appreciated the fact that I believed in it and that I did it. I believed in it so much that I do it every single morning, that I believe in it so much that I wake up at 3 o'clock to be ready to sit at my desk so that I'm inspired, ready to receive words. Everything's set up. A single cup of coffee that I'm going to have for my day. Everything arranged just so the magic happens. My magic. Doesn't have to be anyone else's magic. That's what I hope to come across when I put out those shorts of my writing. Just a little bit of the magic that happens for me. And then I hope someone says, well, I wonder if I can get that magic from me. They don't have to read my stuff and say, that was magical, or that was good, or that was beautiful. They just have to think, I wonder if I can do that. I wonder if I can arrange things in a particular way in my life so that I am ready for that magic to happen. It is what it is. Says I might not be able to work out just yet, but I'll be doing 90% of what needs to be done as far as my diet, though. When's the diet start? I wonder if you could do something like maybe even just get on a bike to start prepping your cardio system for the harder work that's going to come. And plus, you're burning some calories so that when you are hitting the burpee reps, you're a little bit lighter, taking a little less stress off the body. New Year's Day. Good job. I've been talking about setting that intent, gathering that energy of a new year and working with it. So I'm glad to hear that. Although, let's see. It is what it is. Says I can do that, Eric. I do have a bike. Yeah, I think, even a little bit of motion, even walking, especially getting out. Destiny and I talk quite a bit, just getting out in nature. And nature's everywhere. Doesn't have to be, you don't have to go to a park. You don't have to, go deep out in the woods. We all have nature in our neighborhood if we look for it. If you have trees, if you have one tree, if you have a field of grass. Paradox says, I'm going to try to cut down on my ganja intake come New Year. Not fully starve myself of it, but at least bring right down to where it is a treat again. That's a good idea. Having it something to look forward to. I don't know if it is what it is going to support that resolution. uh, he definitely has his own view on that. But you know what? It's entirely, everyone has their what's working for me. If it's working for you, if it isn't working for you, we all have to take that self analysis, that self examination, the self inquiry, and see. You know, only you can tell. Is, a little less. For me, I went years without smoking. And then I started again just a little bit on occasion, helped me, which I thought might bring a little different bent to my creativity. But then my father got real sick, and I needed to stay 100% present for his needs. And then I just never started again. Paradox says I did 6 months clean a few years ago, a few years back. I felt abnormal, lost my drive to train, and all sorts. Some people, it's a creative aid, it's a creative tool, and it helps. I'm for whatever helps. As long as it's not destructive for you, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone else, what helps helps. It's not. Um, if you ever watch that famous video of that person with Parkinson's disease who was shaking so bad, uncontrollable, until they smoked a little and the shake stopped, it's medicinal. It helps for all sorts of things. And you know what? Sometimes the not when all you want to do is create and you feel that you're not in that place, that's being ill in its own way. And if it helps, again, I'm all for it. For me, being socially shy at one point in my life, and I started drinking, and it opened up all kinds of doors for me. I used to tell people that I was a social drinker, but then I found every reason in the world to be social. I was social 7 days a week. I was social at lunchtime. I was social in the evening. I was social in the morning. And that's when I realized that, I wasn't a social drinker. I was an alcoholic. Let's see, Paradox says, I've seen that, yeah. And also kids' tumors being passed out of them once the Rick Simpson oil has been used for a few months. It can definitely heal. It is what it is. Says I do see a problem with ganja and these other types of THC. It has too much, and it's gotten out of hand, I think. Yeah, my preference was when it was grown, you know, and you got it from you know, a guy that lived in his mother's basement. Paradox says social 7 days a week. Sounds familiar. Yeah, I think a lot of us have been there. I think a lot of us who come obsessively to our workouts do so because it's burning that energy. It's burning that karma that was once spent going to bars or other things. Lewis says if people could just use it for what it is, it'd be great. I agree. Paradox says, yeah, the level of THC in these modern Cali strains are at psychosis level, and I've heard that that has actually occurred. That people without any apparent underlying issues, when they've smoked some of those larger strain um, brands, have actually ended up with psychotic episodes. So Bring it back to the farmers. That was the whole great thing about it, was that it was natural. It was from the ground. When something becomes synthetic, when something becomes made in a lab, it loses that connection. It's no longer a sacrament. It's no longer medicinal. Now it's pharmaceutical. There's a big difference between medicinal and pharmaceutical. And that's not knocking pharmaceuticals for people who really need that. But for us, we don't need it that way. Paradox says, I have a mate from years ago who is paranoid schizophrenic now. Thanks for, I can't make out the last part, from smoking back in the day when it was strains like Purple Haze, White Rhino, etc. Yeah, I know some people similar, but it was happened through a little too much hallucinogens, which were big for me back in the day, back in the 80s. Let's see. It is what it is. Says the syrup right, and holy moly, I tried it and I was gone. Some pretty potent stuff out there. So, I remember some pretty potent stuff when I was younger, but again, it was all grown from the earth, so it would only get so potent. It's that other stuff. It is what it is, says exactly, Eric. I'm good with good old OG Kush. And it's the whole experience is different. Of course, I've heard other people say, for them, it's better. They don't have the paranoia. Things are smoother. So, I don't know. It's interesting, though. I know I probably wouldn't be writing the stuff that I write. I probably wouldn't be doing the things that I do had I not had the experience of doing that when I was younger, as well as experimenting with other hallucinogens, mushrooms, LSD, quite a bit. And for me, I tried to keep it sort of as a shamanic medicinal aid, opening up those doors that at that young age I didn't believe I could any other way. Years later, when I discovered meditation, it became different. As Aldous Huxley said in Doors of Perception, the difference is medicinal plants will open up a door and you go through it and you experience a greater reality than what we have right now. However, it's the same door every single time. Every time you go through, it's pretty much the same door. Meditation takes away the door and puts you right there. You don't need to walk through that door. You're in that greater reality all the time. Paradox says, what are your thoughts on this man-made synthetic DMT? Eric, I've never tried it because I believe it depletes your natural levels, so that when the time to cross over realms comes, you are stuck in limbo. I don't know much about the synthetic, but I'm going to stick with what I was saying with marijuana. Synthetic is seldom the way to go. Although Albert Hofmann, who discovered LSD and then synthesized it, was actually afraid of mushrooms because he said something, and I think he said the same thing about DMT, because the frog was in the DMT when he did it. The earth, the realness, the actual fungi was present in what he was doing, and it scared him. And with LSD, because it was created in a lab, it was cleaner. However, remember, he was a scientist. That might be the difference. Me personally, I prefer the opposite. I'd rather lick the toad. DMT can be scary stuff either way. Any way you think about it, it can be scary. But yeah, I'd much rather lick the toad than anything else. Let's see. Paradox says, I've got some golden teacher shrooms here. I haven't felt like I'm in the right frame of mind. You definitely have to be in the right frame of mind. Maybe in the new year. New year, got some new energy. That might be the time to do it. It is what it is, says Paradox. Is that like licking frog? I don't know. Licking a frog, I used once. I didn't lick the frog, but it was from the frog. And I felt myself dissolving. And by what felt like a sheer force of will, I had to pull every particle back together. Had I don't know, if things had been different, I think I would have let myself dissolve to see what was there, to experience that absolute nothingness that was right on the verge of happening. Destiny says, Paradox, you just said a mouthful. You onto some truth. I agree. Paradox says, yes, man, or ayahuasca from plant. Those are natural versions. This shit is just some synthetic version. Yeah. Not that things from the earth can't be abused. They certainly can be. But I think we approach them differently. I think our energy and our mindset is differently. We're approaching it as a sacrament, that we have some reverence for what we're doing. And I think when it's from the lab, we lose that reverence. We're no longer, we lose that connection to the earth. And I think that connection is so important when you're using those sacraments. Because without that connection, we've lost that tether. And lots of people doing the ayahuasca have actually experienced that tether, that connection to the earth. And they would never want to lose that. Paradox says, I'd like a toad. If he was in Peru or somewhere at, or the setting was right. Yep. Not Tiger Drag, some synthetic vape pen in a high rise flat and speak to devils. Yes. Man, setting is key. Setting is everything. You got to be in that right environment. And being in a high rise, being in an apartment, being in a townhouse in suburban Maryland, I don't think that's the right setting. And you got to prep for it. It's not that thing that you just go, sure, what the hell, I'll give it a try. You got to be on that verge of annihilation. You got to be ready to be annihilated. It's the return to nothingness from which everything came from. So once you go to that nothingness, there's no worries any longer, because you know that's the primordial nothingness, and that you'll just be reborn as something else. Not necessarily a better version of who you are, but something else entirely. That's the thing with the whole self-improvement. We're on that mental plane. We're on that self. We're just trying to improve the same old self that keeps appearing every single time and keeps messing up. Why have a better version of that? Annihilate that. Start from scratch. Get rid of the self. Don't even worry about improvement. Be a new expression, because a new expression of spirit, a new expression of who and what you are, means everything's embraced. All the mess ups, all the problems, all the issues. That's just part of expressing life. Let's see. Destiny says, I see paradox, and I sense that you are living in some truth of your own or someone else's truth. And Paradox says, I'm still trying to work that out myself, Destiny. I wonder. You know what? I think there's going to, I definitely am going to check out your podcast this weekend, because I think that holds a key to you, that creative spirit. Um, my guess, you're living your truth. I think there's a definite authenticity to who you are. Destiny says, understand paradox, at least you know your truth and have submitted to it. It's really interesting to think about, because we're at that time of year. We're setting those New Year's intentions, the resolutions. Um, that's such a great point. Paradox says, I feel like I am, but the name Paradox says it can be a self-contradiction, which is good though, because we have to learn to live with paradox. There's no version of truth that doesn't contain its opposite. There, it's all true, every bit of it. If someone were to say, Eric, you're selfish and you're unkind and you're cruel and you're this and that, my only answer could be yes, but not all the time. And not ever, it's not who I am. Those are things that are expressed for whatever reason at some time during my life. Only by accepting the fullness of being human are we free, are we liberated. This paradox just said, the duality of man. When you embrace the duality, you realize that it's one thing. Duality is just an expression of one thing. Masculine and feminine aren't two different things. It's one energy expressed in a specific way. And again, paradox hits it on the head with full of light and the dark, which is the whole symbolism of the yin yang symbol, Taoism. Not just that you have the light and the dark, but when you look at each part merging together, but there's a dot of each within the larger sections to symbolize the fact that in essence, they're the same thing. So, all right, guys, coming up on 45 minutes. I've been keeping my talks to half an hour to 45 minutes, giving myself the exception. And the exception is when you guys show up and we have conversations like this, because then you just got to keep the energy going for a while. Or when we're talking about burpees, because burpees are the exception in every conversation. Believe it or not, I don't have the opportunity to bring burpees up in an everyday conversation with other people. I get funny looks. Also, I can't talk about licking a toad in a conversation with just anyone. I don't think that would go over in other social occasions. So, in the right company, you got to go with it. You got to, you know, you got to be able to say what you want to say. And I have tried talking about licking the toad in mixed company. Never goes over well. Same with burpees. So we're going to call it a day. Um, thank you all. Appreciate the conversation. And Destiny, again, I really need to thank you for the help that you've given me with the advice on the shorts. Um, it's made a difference. Channel is growing a little bit at a time. Um, but I'll take it all. I'll take it as it comes. Paradox says burpees are the way. Certainly are. Burpee Nation, salute and peace, peace, folks. Take care. Again, thank you guys. Appreciate it. And I'll be back in the morning and we'll do some burpees. It is what it is. Says, have a great day, guys. And Destiny says, thanks, Eric. Paradox, it is what it is. Blessings and love. And for some of you, if I don't see you before New Year's, have a good New Year's. Take care, guys.